Stop what you are doing right now. I need your full attention for the next few minutes, because what is setting up across a massive portion of this country tonight and into the next 4 days is one of the most dangerous late winter weather events I have tracked in years. We are talking about a multi-phase storm system with teeth. Ice accumulations that will bring down power lines, wind chills that will kill exposed skin in under 30 minutes, snow totals that will shut down entire metro areas, and a secondary Arctic surge behind it that the models just shifted on overnight that is going to make everything significantly worse than what we thought 24 hours ago. I have been doing this for a long time. I do not use the word dangerous lightly. Tonight, I am using it. This is a dangerous storm. Stay with me because at the 9-minute mark, I am going to reveal the full danger tier list, the most at-risk cities in this entire event, and the exact timing window you need to plan around. If you live anywhere from Texas to Maine, you need to hear this. My name is your weather broadcaster, and this is the complete, full breakdown of what is coming. Let us get into it. Here's the setup, and I want you to understand this from the ground up, because the more you understand what is driving this, the more seriously you are going to take it. We have a powerful upper-level trough digging deep into the central United States right now. It is not a shallow system. It is not a quick-moving clipper. This is a slow, loaded, moisture-rich storm system that is organizing tonight and will reach full intensity within the next 18 to 24 hours. At the same time, a Canadian Arctic air mass, a genuine deep freeze air mass, is sitting just to the northwest of the Great Lakes, waiting to pour south and east the moment this storm clears. That is the 1-2 punch. Storm first, Arctic blast second, and they are going to overlap in ways that create some of the most dangerous conditions this country has seen in a late winter event in recent memory. The European model, the ECMWF, which is generally considered the gold standard for medium-range forecasting, has been consistent on this for the last 4 runs. It keeps this storm slow, it keeps it moisture-loaded, and it brings the Arctic air in aggressively behind it. When the European model is consistent across 4 consecutive runs, you listen to it. When it is also being backed up by the GFS, the American model, that is when you start paying very close attention. The GFS, the global forecast system run by NOAA, has been tracking this storm as well. It has shown slightly faster progression than the European, which matters because if the GFS is right, the overlap zone between the icing threat and the Arctic blast narrows. But here's the problem. Even in the faster GFS scenario, the cold comes in so hard and so fast that refreezing becomes a catastrophic secondary concern. We are talking about roads that appeared to be clearing up, turning back into ice sheets within 90 minutes of temperatures dropping. That scenario is arguably more dangerous than the slow European solution because people will be caught off guard. The HRRR, the High-Resolution Rapid Refresh Model, which is our best tool for looking at the next 12 to 24 hours at a very granular level, is showing tonight's initial band of freezing rain, developing across a corridor from northeastern Texas through Arkansas, Tennessee, and into the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic by early morning. It is painting a very tight, very focused ice accumulation swath. And the numbers it is putting out for that corridor are not pretty. The National Blend of Models, which is NOAA's consensus product that essentially averages and weighs multiple models together, is showing a coherent and ugly picture. It is not an outlier. Every major tool we have is singing from the same songbook here. The disagreement is only in the exact track and timing, not in whether this is going to be a significant event. It is going to be significant. The question is, how significant? Let me walk you through this in 3 phases, because that is how this event unfolds. And understanding the phases is critical to understanding when your worst window is. Phase 1 is already underway. Right now, tonight, as you are watching this, the leading edge of moisture associated with this system is pushing into the southern plains and the lower Mississippi Valley. A warm conveyor belt of Gulf moisture is being lifted over a shallow but very stubborn layer of cold surface air that has been entrenched across the region since late last week. That clash is producing freezing rain and sleet across a wide area. Dallas-Fort Worth is already seeing temperatures hovering right at the freezing mark, with light freezing drizzle reported across the metro. San Antonio is watching the temperature tick downward toward 34 degrees, with a wintry mix developing on the northwestern side of the metro. Oklahoma City is sitting at 31 degrees, with sleet already accumulating on elevated surfaces, bridges, and overpasses. Little Rock, Arkansas, is in the middle of this right now. A quarter-inch of ice has already accumulated on untreated surfaces in parts of the metro. That does not sound like much until you are driving on it at highway speeds at 11 o'clock at night. Memphis, Tennessee is in the crosshairs tonight. Temperatures have dropped to 30 degrees, and the freezing rain line is pushing into the metro right now. Memphis is a city that does not have the infrastructure to handle significant ice events. They do not have the salt stockpiles. They do not have the plow equipment. And frankly, the road network was not engineered with this kind of event in mind. Even a quarter to a half inch of ice in Memphis creates conditions that are essentially impassable for normal vehicles without preparation. Nashville is watching this nervously from the northeast. The current track keeps Nashville on the cold side of the precipitation shield, which means they go directly into freezing rain and sleet rather than getting any liquid rain buffer. Temperatures in Nashville right now are 28 degrees and dropping. By 4 in the morning, the freezing rain is expected to move through, and by early afternoon tomorrow, they could be looking at a quarter to 3/8 of an inch of ice accumulation on untreated surfaces. That is in the range where you start seeing tree branches coming down. That is in the range where you start seeing power lines failing. Louisville, Kentucky. I need you to hear this clearly. You are in one of the most dangerous positions for Phase 1. The models are in strong agreement that Louisville sits squarely in the maximum ice accumulation zone for this first phase. We are looking at the potential for 3/8 to over a half inch of ice in the Louisville metro by tomorrow afternoon. Half an inch of ice does not just close roads. Half an inch of ice takes down power lines. It takes down tree limbs. It collapses carports and poorly structured outbuildings. Half an inch of ice is a multi-day power outage event for tens of thousands of people. Indianapolis is going to see this transition later than Louisville, probably by mid-morning tomorrow, but the ice threat is real there as well. They will see periods of freezing rain before the precipitation type transitions to snow as the colder air wraps in from the northwest. Totals there in the quarter-inch ice range with 3 to 5 inches of snow on top of that ice layer. Driving on snow over ice is extraordinarily dangerous. That layering effect is something drivers routinely underestimate. Phase 1 extends up through the Ohio Valley and into the mid-Atlantic overnight and into tomorrow morning. Columbus, Ohio is looking at freezing rain transitioning to snow by mid-morning. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is going to be socked in with freezing rain, ice, and then heavy snow. Pittsburgh is actually somewhat accustomed to winter weather, but half an inch of ice followed by 8 to 12 inches of snow is not a routine Pittsburgh event. That is a significant multi-day disruption event. Charleston, West Virginia is in the highest risk ice corridor. The terrain there complicates everything because the mountains channel the cold air in ways that can lock in the freezing layer for longer periods than the models sometimes capture. I want Charleston to be on high alert. Wheeling, West Virginia as well. These are communities where ice storms can cause prolonged multi-day outages because of the terrain challenges involved in restoring power. Lexington, Kentucky is looking at similar impacts to Louisville. Quarter to half-inch ice possible. Knoxville, Tennessee will see freezing rain overnight, with ice accumulation of a quarter inch or more, particularly on elevated surfaces and elevated terrain areas north and east of the city. Bristol, the Tri-Cities region of Tennessee and Virginia, is going to be hit hard. That region sits at higher elevation, and the cold air settles in there aggressively. I would put the Tri-Cities in a high-risk category for this first phase. Now, I want to pivot to Phase 2, because this is where the event goes from serious to severe for a much larger population center. Phase 2 begins tomorrow afternoon and ramps up through tomorrow night. This is when the Maine low-pressure center deepens rapidly as it tracks northeast along the Ohio Valley and then cuts toward the mid-Atlantic coast. As this low deepens, it draws in moisture from the Atlantic. It organizes, it intensifies, and it delivers the heaviest snowfall of the entire event to a swath stretching from the central Appalachians all the way into the interior northeast. The storm track at this point becomes critical. I want to talk about the models here because there is a meaningful difference in scenarios, and you need to understand what each one means for your area. In the European model solution, the low track's a bit further north, closer to the Pennsylvania-New York border as it deepens. This solution brings heavier snow totals further south, loading up areas like Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and the Virginia Piedmont with 8 to 14 inches of snow. It also keeps the Mid-Atlantic in the heavy snow band for longer, extending the duration of the event. In the GFS solution, the low tracks slightly further south and then cuts closer to the coast. This solution is typically better for the coastal cities. New York City, Boston, Providence, Hartford. These cities do well in a coastal low scenario. They get walloped. Meanwhile, the interior areas of New England and upstate New York see the snow totals, but the Mid-Atlantic gets a slightly less catastrophic scenario in this solution. Right now, the national blend of models is splitting the difference, and honestly, that is probably the right answer. It is painting a corridor of 12 to 18-inch snowfall from southwestern Virginia, through the Shenandoah Valley, through western Maryland, through south-central Pennsylvania, through New Jersey, through the New York City metro area, and into Connecticut, Rhode Island, and southeastern Massachusetts. Let me say those numbers again. 12 to 18 inches. That is not a normal snowfall event. That is a major metropolitan shutdown event. That is a state of emergency declaration event. That is a National Guard deployment event. Roanoke, Virginia is looking at 10 to 15 inches of snow with a half-inch ice base underneath from Phase 1. Roanoke, you need to start preparing right now. Charlottesville, Virginia, same story. Richmond, Virginia is in an interesting position because you sit right on the edge of where the rain-snow line will be. The latest model trends are bringing Richmond more firmly into the snow zone, with 8 to 12 inches now looking more likely than the rain-sleet-snow mix from 24 hours ago. That is a significant upgrade. Richmond, take this seriously. Washington, D.C., and the surrounding metro area, Northern Virginia, suburban Maryland. This event has all the ingredients of what locals call a historic D.C. snowstorm, the kind that closes the federal government for multiple days, the kind that shuts down Metro, the kind where you are digging out your car for 2 days. The current model consensus puts the D.C. Metro at 10 to 16 inches of total snowfall. That range will likely narrow as we get closer. But I want you to understand, even the lower end of that range is a major winter storm for this area. The higher end is a historic event. Baltimore, Maryland is looking at similar totals to D.C., with perhaps slightly higher snowfall on the northern side of the metro, potentially reaching 16 to 20 inches in some of the northern Baltimore County areas. Annapolis and the eastern shore of Maryland have a trickier forecast because of the proximity to the water and the rain-snow line complications. I would keep a close eye on updated forecasts for that region specifically. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You are in the bullseye. I will say it plainly. 12 to 18 inches of snow for the Philadelphia metro area with the current model consensus. This is a major blizzard-level event for the Philadelphia region. Wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour during Phase 2 will create whiteout conditions and significant drifting. We are talking about drifts of 2 to 3 feet in open terrain and at intersections where the wind channels. Philadelphia has dealt with big snowstorms before, but this one needs to be taken seriously from a preparation standpoint, starting right now. Trenton, New Jersey, Atlantic City, the Jersey Shore communities. These areas have the added complication of coastal flooding concerns during Phase 2 as the low deepens offshore and drives significant wave action and storm surge. If you are in a coastal flood zone in New Jersey, you need to be watching your local National Weather Service office very closely over the next 24 to 36 hours. New York City, the 5 boroughs, Long Island, Westchester, the Hudson Valley. The models are trending toward a significant snowfall event for the New York City metro area. We are looking at the potential for 10 to 16 inches within the 5 boroughs, with higher totals possible in the northern suburbs. The Hudson Valley and Long Island could see some of the highest totals in this event, depending on exactly how the low tracks. 12 to 20 inches is possible on Long Island in a favorable storm track scenario. Even in the unfavorable scenario, 8 to 12 inches is likely. For those of you in Connecticut, this is your storm. Hartford is looking at a foot-plus scenario in most model solutions. New Haven, Bridgeport, Stamford. All of those communities along the I-95 corridor are looking at 10 to 16 inches, with significant wind and the potential for coastal impacts. Inland Connecticut, Waterbury, Torrington, the Litchfield Hills area could see the highest totals in the state, with 16 to 20-plus inches possible. Providence, Rhode Island, Worcester, Massachusetts. These two cities sit in a sweet spot for the storm track currently being modeled. Both are looking at 16 to 24 inches of snowfall. Worcester, Massachusetts has a history of getting absolutely buried in storms like this. The terrain elevation there does something interesting to the precipitation, enhancing totals beyond what the surrounding lowlands see. Worcester. If you are watching this, I want you planning for 20 inches or more. That is not fear-mongering. That is what the models are currently showing. Boston, Massachusetts. The city of Boston and the greater metro area. The track of this storm will ultimately determine whether Boston ends up in the 12 to 16-inch range or pushes toward 18 to 20-plus. The European model has been nudging the track slightly more favorable for very heavy totals in Boston. If that solution verifies, Boston could be looking at a top 10 snowfall event in the recorded history of the city. That is not a certainty, but it is on the table, and it needs to be talked about. Portland, Maine, and the rest of coastal and southern Maine are in this storm's final act during Phase 2. Totals there will depend heavily on the track, but a range of 12 to 20 inches is currently expected. Interior Maine, Bangor, Aroostook County in the north, could see additional snowfall on the backside of the system that pushes totals even higher. Upstate New York, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany. I have not forgotten you, and I need you to pay attention, because Phase 2 for you overlaps directly with the beginning of Phase 3, and that is where things get particularly bad in your region. Stay with me. I am coming back to you in a few minutes. We are about 9 minutes into this breakdown, and I told you I would give you the danger tier list here. This is based on the combination of ice accumulation threat, heavy snow, wind, duration of extreme cold, power outage potential, and community vulnerability. Here is the full tier breakdown for this event. Tier 1, the highest danger classification for this event. These are the communities where the combination of threats puts the most lives at risk and creates the highest probability of multi-day power outages, infrastructure failures, and life-threatening cold for those who lose heat. Louisville, Kentucky. Charleston, West Virginia. Tri-Cities region of Tennessee and Virginia. Roanoke, Virginia. The Shenandoah Valley corridor of Virginia and West Virginia. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Worcester, Massachusetts. Providence, Rhode Island. These communities face the full suite of threats: ice, heavy snow, high winds, and prolonged dangerous cold. Tier 2, infrastructure stress category. These communities face significant impacts that will stress transportation, power grids, and emergency services to their limits. But the combination is not quite as catastrophic as Tier 1. Washington, D.C. metro area. Baltimore, Maryland. New York City metro. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Indianapolis, Indiana. Columbus, Ohio. Hartford, Connecticut. Albany, New York. Buffalo, New York. Boston, Massachusetts. Tier 3. These are communities that do not regularly deal with these types of winter weather events. Their infrastructure, their population, their road treatment capabilities, and community preparedness are significantly lower than northern cities. Even moderate ice and snow creates dangerous and potentially deadly conditions in Tier 3 communities. Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. San Antonio, Texas. Memphis, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee. Little Rock, Arkansas. Shreveport, Louisiana. Huntsville, Alabama. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Greensboro, North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina. If you live in any of these communities, understand that even a quarter-inch of ice is a major emergency. These are not exaggerations. Texas learned this the hard way. In February 2021, do not dismiss this because the numbers sound small compared to what the northern cities are dealing with. Now I need to talk about Phase 3, and I want you to understand why this is the part of this event that has meteorologists genuinely concerned. Phase 3 begins Wednesday night into Thursday morning. The storm itself will have moved offshore by this point, but the door that it leaves open in its wake allows the Canadian Arctic air mass to pour south and east in a dramatic and sustained surge. We are talking about temperatures dropping 30 to 50 degrees below where they were before this event in some locations. That is not a gradual cooling. That is a cliff. Behind a late winter storm system, Arctic air often arrives with remarkable speed and ferocity. We are looking at high temperatures on Thursday in Buffalo, New York, of 5 degrees Fahrenheit. 5 degrees. Wind chills on Thursday in Buffalo of -25 to -35 degrees Fahrenheit. This is life-threatening cold. Exposed skin can get frostbite in under 15 minutes in those conditions. If you have lost power from the storm, and you are sitting in a house that is rapidly cooling toward freezing, this cold becomes a survival scenario. Rochester, New York is looking at high temperatures on Thursday of 8 degrees, with wind chills of -20 to -30 degrees. Syracuse, New York, same story. Albany, New York, high temperatures Thursday of 12 degrees, wind chills of -15 to -25. Now here is something I need to specifically address about Buffalo and the entire eastern Great Lakes region during Phase 3, because it creates an additional significant hazard. After the Maine storm system moves through, the Arctic air pouring south and east across the Great Lakes will pick up enormous amounts of moisture from the still relatively warm lake water. This is the classic late winter lake effect snow setup, and it has the potential to be historically intense. Lake Ontario and Lake Erie are still carrying above normal water temperatures for this time of year. When -20-degree Canadian air flows across those lakes, it picks up that moisture like a conveyor belt and drops it on the downwind shores in bands of extremely heavy, extremely intense snowfall. Buffalo, New York is directly in the crosshairs of Lake Erie lake effect snow during Phase 3. I want you to hear this. In a strong lake effect snow setup following an already significant storm system, the bands can drop 2 to 4 inches of snow per hour in a very narrow corridor. We're talking about potential additional accumulations of 12 to 24 inches from lake effect alone in the most favored corridors downwind of Lake Erie. This is on top of what Phase 2 already drops. Watertown, New York, which sits in the classic Lake Ontario snowbelt, is looking at similar potential from the Ontario Fetch. Pulaski, New York. Oswego, New York. These communities in the Tug Hill Plateau region can see some of the most intense lake effect snow in the entire country. Totals there over the back half of this event, combining Phase 2 and Phase 3 lake effect, could approach 3 to 4 feet in the most extreme scenarios. The rest of the Northeast during Phase 3. Boston comes down rapidly on Thursday from whatever temperatures Phase 2 leaves behind. By Thursday morning, Boston is looking at a high of 8 degrees. Wind chill of -15 to -20. If the power is out from Phase 2 and the Arctic air arrives, that is an acute emergency for thousands of households. Providence, Rhode Island, high Thursday of 6 degrees. Hartford, Connecticut, high Thursday of 4 degrees. New York City, high Thursday of 12 degrees. Wind chills -10 to -20. Philadelphia, high Thursday of 14 degrees. Baltimore, high Thursday of 17 degrees. Washington, D.C., high Thursday of 20 degrees. Wind chills -5 to -15. Even the South, which largely escapes Phase 2 snowfall, does not escape Phase 3 cold. Atlanta, Georgia is looking at high temperatures on Thursday of 26 degrees. Charlotte, North Carolina, high Thursday of 22 degrees. Nashville, Tennessee, High Thursday of 15 degrees. These temperatures are unusual for these communities at any point in winter, but in March, when people and infrastructure are mentally and physically transitioning towards spring, they are especially dangerous. Water pipes in homes in Atlanta, Charlotte, and Nashville are at significant risk of freezing and bursting during Phase 3. The pipe infrastructure in these communities was not designed for sustained temperatures in the teens. When temperatures drop below 20 degrees for 12 or more consecutive hours, you start seeing pipe failures in houses that simply were not built to code for Arctic temperatures. Here is something I also need to flag. And models just shifted on this overnight, and I want to make sure you know about it. The GFS overnight run has introduced the possibility of a secondary low forming along the mid-Atlantic coast right at the tail end of Phase 3, roughly between Friday night and Saturday. The European model does not show this as clearly, but it is there in about 30% of the GFS ensemble members. I am not going to forecast this secondary system with high confidence right now because the model agreement is not there yet. But I am putting it on your radar because if it does develop, it would extend the winter weather threat into the weekend for coastal areas from the Carolinas to New England. Watch for updates on this. I will have more information in my next video as the models come into better agreement. The pattern that is driving all of this is a highly amplified jet stream configuration, what meteorologists call a Rex block pattern, where a ridge of high pressure in the far North Pacific is forcing the jet stream into extreme troughs and ridges across North America. This kind of pattern does not resolve quickly. We could be looking at a persistent, active weather pattern through the rest of March. The long-range models, looking out 15 to 30 days, show no clear signal for a significant pattern change. That means after this event clears, the atmosphere will likely remain in a favorable position for continued winter storm development. March is not done with us. Not even close. Let me now run through the full city rapid-fire breakdown. I'm going to move quickly. Find your city or the nearest major city to you. Starting in Texas and the Deep South. Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. Phase 1. Freezing rain and sleet tonight through tomorrow morning. Ice accumulation of 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. High temperature tomorrow of 29 degrees. Wind chills of 10 to 15 degrees. Travel will be dangerous. This is a Tier 3 community. Take it seriously. San Antonio, Texas. Freezing rain developing tonight. Ice accumulation possible up to 1/4 inch. High tomorrow of 31 degrees. Elevated surfaces are treacherous. Houston, Texas. On the southern fringe, mainly watching temperatures drop to the mid-20s Thursday night with wind chills near 10 degrees. Pipe freeze risk is elevated for Houston. Prepare now. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Sleet and freezing rain tonight. Ice accumulation of 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. Snow developing tomorrow with 3 to 6 inches possible. Wind gusts 35 to 45 miles per hour tomorrow night. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Similar to OKC. Freezing rain tonight. Snow tomorrow. 2 to 5 inches snow possible. Wind chills dropping to 0 to -10 by Thursday. Little Rock, Arkansas. Freezing rain and ice tonight. 1/4 to 1/2 inch ice accumulation possible. Dangerous travel for the next 24 hours minimum. Tier 3 community with significant outage risk. Memphis, Tennessee. Heavy ice threat tonight into tomorrow. 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour tomorrow. Power outage risk is elevated. This is a Tier 3 emergency scenario. Shreveport, Louisiana. On the edge of the ice threat. Temperatures dropping to the upper 20s. Wind chills near 15 degrees Thursday. Pipe freeze is the primary concern. Huntsville, Alabama. Freezing rain threat tonight. 1/4 inch ice accumulation possible. High Thursday of 24 degrees. Rare and dangerous conditions for this community. Birmingham, Alabama. Primarily a cold and temperature concern. Lows dropping to 19 to 22 degrees Thursday night. Pipes and vulnerable populations are the priority concern. Atlanta, Georgia. Not a significant precipitation threat from this system. The primary concern is Phase 3 cold. High Thursday of 26 degrees. Overnight low Thursday into Friday of 17 to 19 degrees. Extended period below freezing creates pipe rupture risk. Moving into the Mid-South and Appalachians. Nashville, Tennessee. Freezing rain tonight into tomorrow morning. 1/4 to 3/8 inch ice accumulation. High tomorrow of 30 degrees. Snow possible tomorrow afternoon, 1 to 3 inches. High Thursday of 15 degrees. Wind chills 0 to -10. Tier 3 community. High outage risk from ice. Knoxville, Tennessee. Freezing rain tonight. 1/4 inch ice accumulation. Snow tomorrow, 2 to 4 inches. High Thursday of 12 degrees. Wind chills, -5 to -15. Elevated terrain areas north and east of the city will see higher totals. Tri-Cities, Tennessee and Virginia. Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City. Freezing rain tonight with 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice accumulation. Snow tomorrow, 3 to 6 inches. High Thursday of 10 degrees. Wind chills -10 to -20. Tier 1 community. Outage risk is very high here. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Freezing rain tonight. 1/4 inch ice possible. Snow tomorrow, 1 to 3 inches. High Thursday of 18 degrees. Asheville, North Carolina. Ice threat tonight with 1/4 to 3/8 inch accumulation. Elevation significantly elevates the risk here. Snow tomorrow, 3 to 7 inches depending on elevation. High Thursday of 14 degrees. Charlotte, North Carolina. Primarily ice and light snow tonight into tomorrow. Ice accumulation of 1/8 to 1/4 inch. Snow 2 to 4 inches. High Thursday of 22 degrees. Wind chills 5 to 15 degrees. Not accustomed to these conditions. Roads will be treacherous. Greensboro, North Carolina. Ice tonight, snow tomorrow. Ice accumulation of 1/4 inch. Snow 3 to 6 inches. High Thursday of 17 degrees. Raleigh, North Carolina. A tricky forecast because of proximity to the rain-snow line. Right now trending toward rain mixing with ice and snow. Monitor closely for updates. Moving into the Appalachians and Ohio Valley. Charleston, West Virginia. Heavy ice threat tonight into tomorrow. 1/2 inch or more ice accumulation possible. Snow tomorrow, 4 to 8 inches on top of ice. High Thursday of 10 degrees. Wind chills -10 to -20. Tier 1. Multi-day outage risk is very real here. Wheeling, West Virginia. Ice tonight. Heavy snow tomorrow. 1/4 to 1/2 inch ice. 6 to 10 inches of snow. High Thursday of 8 degrees. Huntington, West Virginia. Ice threat tonight. 1/4 inch accumulation. Snow tomorrow. 4 to 7 inches. Lexington, Kentucky. Heavy ice threat tonight into tomorrow. 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. Snow 3 to 5 inches. High Thursday of 12 degrees. Wind chills -5 to -15. Tier 1 concern. Louisville, Kentucky. This is one of the most dangerous scenarios in the entire event. Ice accumulation of 3/8 to over 1/2 inch tonight into tomorrow. Snow 3 to 6 inches on top of that. High Thursday of 8 degrees. Wind chills -15 to -25. Extended power outage potential. Tier 1. If you have a generator, test it tonight. If you have elderly neighbors, check on them. Cincinnati, Ohio. Similar to Louisville. Ice tonight, snow tomorrow. 1/4 to 1/2 inch ice. 4 to 7 inches of snow. High Thursday of 10 degrees. Wind chills -10 to -20. Columbus, Ohio. Freezing rain tonight, transitioning to snow tomorrow. Ice accumulation of 1/4 inch. Snow 6 to 10 inches. High Thursday of 7 degrees. Wind chills -15 to -25. Dayton, Ohio. Ice tonight. Snow tomorrow. 1/4 inch ice. 6 to 10 inches. High Thursday of 6 degrees. Wind chills -15 to -20. Toledo, Ohio. Primarily snow, 7 to 12 inches. Lake effect enhancement possible on the backside. High Thursday of 4 degrees. Wind chills -20 to -30. Cleveland, Ohio. Phase 2. Snow, 8 to 14 inches. Lake effect enhancement from Lake Erie. Phase 3. Additional 3 to 8 inches lake effect possible. High Thursday of 3 degrees. Wind chills -20 to -30. Akron and Canton, Ohio. Phase 2 snow, 8 to 14 inches. High Thursday of 5 degrees. Wind chills -15 to -25. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Phase 1, ice, quarter to half inch. Phase 2 snow, 8 to 12 inches. High Thursday of 8 degrees. Wind chills -10 to -20. Moving into the mid-Atlantic. Morgantown, West Virginia. Ice tonight, heavy snow tomorrow. Quarter-inch ice, 6 to 10 inches snow. High Thursday, 10 degrees. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Phase 2 snow, 10 to 14 inches. High Thursday of 12 degrees. Wind chills -10 to -20. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Phase 2 snow, 12 to 18 inches. Wind gusts, 40 to 50 miles per hour during Phase 2. High Thursday of 14 degrees. Wind chills -5 to -15. Tier 2 with Tier 1 characteristics in the urban core due to vulnerable population density. Wilmington, Delaware. Snow 12 to 16 inches. High Thursday 16 degrees. Baltimore, Maryland. Snow 10 to 16 inches. High Thursday 17 degrees. Wind chills 0 to -15. Annapolis, Maryland. Monitor for rain-snow line complications. Likely 8 to 14 inches. Washington, D.C. Snow 10 to 16 inches. High Thursday 20 degrees. Wind chills 0 to -15. Fredericksburg, Virginia. Snow 8 to 14 inches. High Thursday 19 degrees. Richmond, Virginia. Snow 8 to 12 inches. Upgraded from the previous forecast. The rain-snow line has shifted south. High Thursday of 22 degrees. Roanoke, Virginia. Phase 1 ice, quarter to half inch. Phase 2 snow, 10 to 15 inches. High Thursday of 15 degrees. Wind chills, -5 to -15. Tier 1. Moving into the northeast. Allentown, Pennsylvania. Snow, 12 to 18 inches. High Thursday, 12 degrees. Wind chills -10 to -20. Scranton and Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Snow, 12 to 18 inches, potentially higher with elevation effects. High Thursday, 10 degrees. New York City metro area. Snow, 10 to 16 inches. Wind gusts, 45 to 55 miles per hour during Phase 2. High Thursday, 12 degrees. Wind chills -5 to -20. Coastal flooding threat along low-lying areas. Long Island, New York. Snow 12 to 20 inches possible depending on track. High Thursday, 12 degrees. Newark, New Jersey. Snow 10 to 16 inches. High Thursday, 13 degrees. Trenton, New Jersey. Snow 10 to 16 inches. Coastal flood watch possible for eastern sections. Atlantic City, New Jersey. Coastal flooding threat. Snow 8 to 14 inches. High Thursday, 15 degrees. White Plains, New York. Snow, 12 to 18 inches. High Thursday, 10 degrees. Albany, New York. Snow 12 to 18 inches. High Thursday, 8 degrees. Wind chills -15 to -25. Syracuse, New York. Phase 2 snow, 10 to 14 inches. Phase 3, lake effect. Additional 8 to 16 inches. Total storm event snowfall potential of 18 to 30 inches. High Thursday, 5 degrees. Wind chills -20 to -30. Rochester, New York. Similar to Syracuse. Phase 2, 10 to 14 inches. Lake effect, 8 to 16 inches additional. High Thursday, 8 degrees. Wind chills -20 to -30. Buffalo, New York. Phase 2 snow, 10 to 16 inches. Phase 3 lake effect snow, 12 to 24 inches additional. Total potential, 30 to 40 plus inches in the most favored lake effect corridors. High Thursday, 5 degrees. Wind chills -25 to -35. Tier 2 with extreme duration. Watertown, New York. Phase 2 and Lake Ontario. Lake effect, 30 to 40 plus inch total potential. High Thursday, 4 degrees. Hartford, Connecticut. Phase 2 snow, 12 to 18 inches. Wind gusts, 40 to 50 miles per hour. High Thursday, 4 degrees. Wind chills, -15 to -25. Tier 1. New Haven, Connecticut. Snow 10 to 16 inches. High Thursday, 6 degrees. Providence, Rhode Island. Snow, 16 to 22 inches. High Thursday, 6 degrees. Wind chills, -15 to -25. Tier 1. Worcester, Massachusetts. Snow 16 to 24 inches. High Thursday, 4 degrees. Wind chills, -15 to -25. Tier 1. This is one of the most dangerous cities in this event for combined snowfall and extreme cold. Boston, Massachusetts. Snow 12 to 18 inches, potentially higher. Wind gusts 45 to 50 miles per hour. High Thursday, 8 degrees. Wind chills, -15 to -20. Historic snowfall event possible in the more aggressive model solutions. Springfield, Massachusetts. Snow 14 to 20 inches. High Thursday, 4 degrees. Portland, Maine. Snow 12 to 20 inches. High Thursday, 2 degrees. Wind chills, -20 to -30. Burlington, Vermont. Snow 14 to 20 inches. High Thursday, -2 degrees. Wind chills, -25 to -35. Concord, New Hampshire. Snow 14 to 20 inches. High Thursday, 2 degrees. Wind chills, -20 to -30. Manchester, New Hampshire. Snow 14 to 20 inches. Similar conditions to Concord. I need to spend several minutes on preparation because this is not the part of the video to skip. This is the information that will matter most when you are in the middle of this event. Water storage. Fill your bathtubs. Fill your pots. Fill every clean container you have with water before this event begins. Municipal water systems can fail when demand surges during cold events. Pipes can burst and drop pressure across entire neighborhoods. If your home loses power and your pipes freeze, you need water. Fill the containers now, before you need them. Generators. If you have a portable generator, understand this critical safety rule. Carbon monoxide kills. It kills quietly and quickly. You feel nothing. You simply lose consciousness. A generator must never be operated inside a garage, inside a home, inside an enclosed porch, or within 10 feet of any door or window. People die every single major winter storm from carbon monoxide poisoning from improperly operated generators. Every single storm. If you are going to run a generator, run it outside, in a clear area, away from any opening into your home. Keep a working carbon monoxide detector inside your home. Do not assume the cold air means you are safe. It does not. Pipe insulation. If you live in the southern United States, particularly in Tier 3 communities from Texas to the Carolinas, your pipes are at serious risk during Phase 3 of this event. Before the temperatures drop, insulate any pipes in unheated spaces. Cabinets under exterior-facing sinks should be left open to allow interior heat to reach the pipes. Keep a slow drip from your faucets during the coldest nights. Moving water is harder to freeze than standing water. If your pipes do freeze, do not use an open flame to thaw them. Use a hairdryer. And call a plumber before you need one, because once the temperatures drop, every plumber in your area will have a 3-day wait list. Vehicle preparedness. If travel is necessary during this event, your vehicle needs to be prepared. Have a full tank of gas or a full charge before Phase 1 reaches your area. Keep a winter emergency kit in your vehicle at minimum. A blanket, hand warmers, a flashlight, a phone charger that works off your car battery, a small bag of sand or cat litter for traction if you get stuck, a basic first aid kit, and water. If you go off the road in a snowstorm, stay with your vehicle. Do not try to walk for help in blizzard conditions. More people die from exposure after leaving their vehicles than from being inside them. Power outage survival. If your power goes out during Phase 3 cold, here's what you need to know. Close off rooms you are not using. This concentrates any remaining heat in a smaller space. Layer clothing aggressively. Multiple thin layers trap air more effectively than one thick layer. Body heat in a group is significant. If you have multiple people in the household, stay together in one room. Battery-powered heaters designed for indoor use can help but are limited. Candles provide minimal warmth but provide light and a small amount of heat. If your home drops below 50 degrees Fahrenheit with no power and no alternative heat, you need to leave and find a warming shelter. Many communities open warming shelters during extreme cold events. Find out now where your nearest warming shelter is before you need it. Elderly neighbors and vulnerable community members. I cannot stress this enough. During extreme cold events, elderly individuals, people with disabilities, and people who are homeless face acute life-threatening risk. Check on your neighbors. Do it proactively. Do not wait to be asked. A knock on the door to check on an elderly neighbor during a blizzard takes 90 seconds. It can save a life. Know your neighbors. Know who lives alone on your street. Community resilience is built in moments exactly like this one. Food and medication. Have at least 72 hours of food in your home that does not require cooking if possible. Have any prescription medications refilled now before the storm hits. Pharmacies close during severe events, and their supply chains can be disrupted. If you or a family member depends on medication, this is not optional. Get your refills today. Before I wrap up, I need to give you the broader pattern outlook, because what happens after this event matters enormously. The synoptic pattern that has produced this storm is deeply entrenched. The Rex block I mentioned earlier typically takes 10 to 14 days to fully break down once established. Even after this specific storm system moves through, the jet stream configuration will remain highly amplified and active. The long-range models, both GFS and European, are showing a continued parade of storm systems developing and tracking across North America through the rest of March. What does this mean practically? It means that after this event, before you put away your emergency supplies and go back to normal, wait. The atmosphere is not done. The next potential system is already visible in the models in the day 8 to day 10 range. It is too far out for specifics, but it is there. The pattern is loaded and active. That is the honest truth about where we are right now in the weather pattern. If you are in the Great Lakes region, in the Ohio Valley, in the Northeast, in the Mid-Atlantic, in the South, the rest of March 2026 is going to require you to stay engaged with the weather in ways you may not normally need to. Check your local National Weather Service forecast daily. Sign up for wireless emergency alerts on your phone if you have not already. Have your emergency supplies restocked after this event and keep them ready. The Climate Prediction Center's 30-day outlook shows continued probability of below-normal temperatures for the eastern two-thirds of the United States through the end of March and into early April. The pattern wants to stay cold. That is the baseline we are operating in. Here is my final summary for this event. A dangerous multi-phase winter storm is developing tonight and will impact a massive swath of the United States over the next 96 hours. Phase 1 delivers freezing rain and ice from Texas through the Tennessee Valley and Ohio Valley tonight into tomorrow, with life-threatening ice accumulations of 1/4 to over 1/2 inch in the highest risk corridors. Phase 2 delivers heavy snow and blizzard conditions from the central Appalachians through the Mid-Atlantic and into the interior Northeast, with totals ranging from 8 inches in the most moderate solutions to over 20 inches in the highest impact solutions for the hardest-hit communities. Phase 3 delivers an Arctic air mass with wind chills of -20 to -35 degrees in the interior Northeast and Great Lakes, combined with intense lake-effect snowfall that will pile additional 1 to 3 feet of snow on already buried communities. The cities with the highest danger profile in this event are Louisville, Charleston, the Tri-Cities region, Roanoke, Philadelphia, Worcester, and Providence. But this event affects tens of millions of people across dozens of states, and no one in the impact zone should take it lightly. Prepare now. Check on your neighbors. Stay off the roads during the peak windows. Have your water, your food, your medications, and your emergency supplies ready. If you lose power and temperatures drop to dangerous levels, get to a warming shelter. This is not a typical late winter snowstorm. This is a serious, multi-hazard, multi-day event that deserves your full preparation and attention. If this video gave you information you needed, Do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. Share this video with anyone you know who is in the impact zone. They may not be watching weather videos tonight, and they need to know what is coming. Subscribe if you are not already subscribed, and turn on your notifications because I will have an updated video as soon as the overnight model runs come in. The community tab will also have radar and model updates throughout the event. Check it frequently. Stay safe, stay warm, watch out for each other. I will see you in the next update.